Hello guys, this is Nancy. Today I want to explain about Linux. What is Linux? It is also like an operating system, just like Windows, Macs, and Android. But Linux is also an open source. Open source meaning is nothing but source code is we have to put download from the official website and can be modified by the everyone according to your requirements. Why and next one is why DevOps engineers prefer only Linux. That means it is very stable and also it was very secure. And also in the Linux we have to easy to automate the tasks. And also it works perfectly with the cloud tools like yeah, different cloud tools like Alibaba, GCP, and Microsoft Azure. And also it gives the excellent performance and for monitoring and the troubleshooting. That's why DevOps engineers prefer Linux. And today I want to explain some basic foundation skills for every DevOps experience must have. First one is how to set up the users and the groups for any team. At this video, I want to explain about how to set up the users. For that, we can use sudo user add command for that. Sudo is nothing but super user do. It gives some extra privileges as to the command. Sudo user add hyphen m means root path hyphen s means we have to define the shell and then we have to give the uh, username username. That's it. For suppose if you add any development team or testing team for that, we can use sudo group add and the team name. This was the command we have to execute. For suppose if you want to know if the user was they added to the team like that, for that we can use cat slash etc slash password. This was the command, and it is used to show the all the users. Yeah, we can see that Alice and Boss was added to the dev team like that. And if you want to set the any password for more security, for that we can use sudo passwd password and give the username sudo password alias. If you execute the command, it was asking for the new password. If you enter the password and updated can see that was like all authentication tokens updated successfully. If it was showing like this, you have updated the password. And next one is how to execute, how to give the permission for the project directories. For that, we can use mkdir. Mkdir is used for make a directory for that. For suppose if we change the ownership for that, we can use sudo change ownership column is to what are the which team you give the ownership for that. Use the group name and opt slash app. This was the path we have to oriented what path for that, and also gives us sudo chmod. Chmod is nothing but changes of modifications. Sudo chmod and 770 and the path name. This was the command we have to enter. 770 is nothing but we all know that 4 is nothing but a user and 1 is groups and the 3 is nothing but others. For that, you have to execute this command according to your requirement. And next one is how to install the required packages. Uh, just I am using only M command. Why? Because I am using Amazon Linux 2023. For that, we can using the M command. For we can use Ubuntu machine. We can use apt. We can use apt command for that. For sudo yum install -y and git. It can install the git from the server. And if you want to download the any particular web server, for that we can use sudo yum install -y and the web server name. I want to install the nginx. That's why I have given and this command. And we can show that. Yeah, we can install installing the engines and also installing the all the dependencies from the server. And next one is if you want to download the any. in Java dependencies, Python dependencies, whatever it is. Uh, for that, we can use sudo yum install -y and Java star. Star is nothing but it download all the dependencies from the server, like Java 8, Java 11, 17, 21, and like that. If you want to only the particular version like open JDK 17 or 21, we also execute that command. For that, next one is how to start and enable the service. In my EC2, I have only the Nginx server. That's why I have used execute sudo systemctl and start Nginx. This was the command it is used to start the Nginx, and then you have to give sudo systemctl and enable Nginx. It is used to enable the Nginx server. And if we want to check the status of the Nginx, we can use sudo systemctl status Nginx. If we give the command, it was showing that active, running. And then it was shown like this. And next one was how to check system information. For that, we have free-h and free-m. These were the two commands to use to check the memory. Free-m it is like free-h it was give them total user memory in human readable format. Free-m is used in the binary format. That's the difference between free-h and free-m. If you want to check the disk usage for that, you can use D-H for that. The total disk is a four memory and available is also a four. I am not using any disk space. If you want to block the devices, you can use LSPLK command. This was the command you have to check the system informations. And next one is cron jobs. Cron jobs is nothing but an automated task to run on a schedule in the Linux. It is used to run scripts, backgrounds, cleanups, monitoring, and maintaining tasks automatically. This was the syntax. First star represents minutes and second star represents 0 to 23 and the third star represents the day of the month and fourth star represents the month. We have 12 months, 1 and 12 and the fifth star represents the day of the week. We start with 0 and end with 6. First of all, if you backup script every day at that 2 a.m., we can use sudo va. Va is nothing but the editor. You can open the editor and uh, paste the script. First, we have to create the backup folder. For that, we can use mkdir-p and the backup it was the name. For that, and then we can use create backup files with today's date we can and this was the command we have to execute and we can use tar for that. Tar is nothing but back up the file and it is used in the uh, tar format. That's it. And if you want to delete the backup older than the 7 days, we can use -m time plus 7 delete. This was the command we have to enter, and we have to make executable. We can use sudo chmod and plus gives the permission for that. And also we want to give the cron tab. For that we can use cron tab and open the editor. I was the execute for every 2 a.m. for that 0, 2, and 3 stars. And this was the backup. This was the path name. We have to enter like this. If you want to execute the backup, we can use ls-l and the backup. We can see that this was stored in the tar.gz format. This was the command we have to execute. And next one is how to clean up the logs. For that we can use find slash var dot slash log slash app hyphen tape hyphen hyphen m time. This was the parameter you have to enter. You have to enter. plus 7 and also execute hyphen execute RM hyphen RM hyphen is like but it is used to delete the logs. Is used to delete the logs and then I have to enter this command and next we have to restart the service. We can use system CTL restart and engines. After restart we have to check the services. For that we can use system CTL and status engines. For suppose you have to check the health checks. For that we can use curl command for that. Curl hyphen I and IP address each and the host port. If you enter this command, it was shown like the HTTP 200 is okay, server status is okay. That means it was handling successfully. And next one is you have to manage the logs. I have installed the Nginx server. For suppose if you have checked the access log, error log for that, you can use tail hyphen f. Hyphen f is nothing but the follow of the access logs. This was the command I have to execute access logs and error logs. Yes, right. This was the access logs, and also it was the error logs also I have to execute. And also we can have du-ss slash var slash slash logs. This was the command you have to execute. This was shown that which path taken, which how much memory for that we can and execute this command. And next one is how to check the monitor the system performance. We have different commands for that. This was similar to our TOP top it is used for the utilization. Also, HTOP it is also similar to the top. But the difference is nothing but HTOP is nothing but human. Uh, it was more visible compared to the top. That's the difference between top and HTOP. And also we can execute Tom. It can show that how many users are there, uh, how much percentage of CPU is taken, how much memory is also taken, and also it can show the zombie process also. Zombie process is nothing but the process is read, but it was still our memory. And next we can use IOStat. IOStat is nothing but it is used to monitor the disk performance. And next one is we can use VMstat. VMstat is nothing but monitor overall the system performance in our server. For that, we can use VMstat command, and we have to troubleshoot the services. We can use system CTS status, which was also discussed in the previous one. Also, we can use system CTS status in if it was shown 200 active, then it was okay, and it was showing inactive or that was not running. And then we have to use start or restart the service. For them, we can use sudo system ctl start engines, and also we can use sudo system ctl restart engines. And then we can use how to check the service. For that, we can use journal ctl command. Sudo journal ctl. Journal ctl is used for reviewing the Nginx logs in the real time. If you want to restart the Nginx, if you want to see what was the happens in the server, for that we can use journal ctl command. And next we are going to the advanced production advanced commands for that. For suppose you have to create some custom services. Custom services is nothing but if Java application requires some background service. For that we can use a create custom application for that. And then you have to restart the service, sudo system ctl and daemon trailer. Daemon is nothing but the background, and then we can start the services, and also you can check the status of the services. And next one is SSS hardening. SSS hardening, it is nothing but you have to take the security. For that, we can use SSHD and configure path. We can open the path by using sudo va. We can see that password authentication. By default, it was showing password authentication is no and permit empty password was no. We have to modify like to password authentication must change it to yes and also we have to enter the users we can enter the allow users allies and box. For that we have to close and start the service sudo systemctl restart SSD and then we have to check the status. It was shown active. That means we have and execute the command successful. So for that, and we have to, and then we can go to the next command first, like large volume manager. For that, we can install the large volume manager. For that, we can use sudo yum install hyphen alvm tools. For that, we have to create a large volume. We must create the physical volume group, and the logical value. First, we have to identify the disk, how much space it does have. For that, we can use lsblk command. It was shown that 8 GB is used for the main disk mounted on 8 GB and mounted on 10 memory for put/EFI command. If you want to increase the volume for that, we can go to the EC2 instance and say action and storage and attach the EPS value. And you have to create a value for that. And then we have to create a physical value so that we can use sudo pv create and we have to create the volume group sudo bg create and bg data for that. We have to check for that we can use bgs and then we have to check the create logical value. For that we can use sudo lv create hyphen f 10 is nothing but I have added in the previous and then we can use hyphen a logical volume f and bg package was the command we have to execute for that and then we have to mount it. This was the command we have to execute and then we can go to the install and enable firewalls on Amazon Linux 2023. For that we can use this command. First command was sudo dnf install firewall, sudo dnf install firewall hyphen d. It was the command to install the firewalls. And next one we have to install enable the firewall and then we have to start the firewall and then we can check the services of the check the status of the firewalls. That's it. We can show that it was active. That means we have successfully installed. And then we have to check we have next command was log rotation. In my EC2 instance I have only the Nginx. For that, I have written the for every web server we have we have default log rotation path Nginx. This was the default path /etc/slash log rotate hyphen dot d slash Nginx. If we open this editor, we can check that daily missing daily rotate compress delay compress notify empty missing okay share with scripts and post rotate. If you want to change from like 14 days to 10 days like that we have to modify it like this and then we have to rotate the for checking purpose we have to log rotate for that we can check sudo log rotate is first the command we have to execute and then we can see that command like that. I have executed this command like we have to show that var slash log slash nginx slash we can show that there is no there was total zero error loss for that. This was some of the important comments for every DevOps engineer must know. Thank you guys.